Hey friends, and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about 5 things that I think everyone should have in their freezer. Things that just make life easier and with which you can perfect your dishes. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm Sylvia and I want to help you master healthy eating. If you liked videos like these or recipe videos, be sure to subscribe for more. So let's get on to what you guys should all have in your freezer. So item number 1, what you should have in your freezer is berries. Well, not berries specifically, but fruits like berries or bananas or other fruits that you guys like. You guys have probably heard this 1,000 times here on YouTube or anywhere else in the health food sphere, but it is always handy to have some frozen fruit on hand for smoothies. Especially bananas are good for making smoothies, but having frozen berries or fruits on hand isn't only good for smoothies, but also practical if you're making things like porridges. You can throw some frozen fruit in there and cook your porridge with some frozen fruit. That makes it really delicious. Or if you guys are baking, so some kind of muffin or banana bread, having some frozen fruit on hand is always handy. Plus, you guys don't have to use store-bought frozen fruit. You guys can also buy fresh fruit and cut them up to the size that you guys want and need, and then freeze them. That way we can all maybe even save a little bit of plastic and waste. Item number 2 is frozen peas. I like to add frozen peas in either my pasta sauces or my one pots. I add them to any dish where I feel like there's just some protein missing, and that is easily fixed with adding some frozen peas. This is a great way just to amp up the nutritional value of your dish and to make sure that you're getting all the nutrients that you need, proteins, carbs, but also vitamins from your veggies. Item number 3 are dark greens. So vegetables like broccoli or green beans or Brussels sprouts. These veggies I love to have ready on hand for when I'm making dishes that kind of lack in the veggie department. So things like maybe pasta where there's just not much vegetable variety in the sauce. I like to make some broccoli just in plain water, add some salt and pepper just to balance out the nutritional value so that I have some more veggies in my dish. It's super easy, not a big hassle, and this way you make sure to eat enough veggies. Then item number 4 is also a dark green, but I put this in a separate category just because I always have this on hand, and that is spinach. I always have some frozen spinach with me because it's super easy to add into any type of sauce or also one pots, just to add some more dark greens. And if I feel like the dish just lacks in the veggie department, I want to make sure that eating veggies is easy and hassle-free so that I don't lack in that area. Then frozen item number 5 for me is herbs. I have frozen herbs in my freezer, especially frozen basil, because in my opinion, dried basil just doesn't compare to the fresh one at all. For me, it tastes like nothing. You might as well not add basil at all, but that's just my opinion. But as I've told you guys in my previous video where I talk about 7 must-have spices, I tell you guys that I am super bad with keeping fresh herbs. That's why I opt for dried herbs, although I really want to improve in that area. But I like to have some frozen basil in my freezer just because it is much more intense than the dried version, and just because I can't really keep up with fresh herbs. Also, fresh herbs are often limited in the amount of use you can get because, well, you can't trim down the whole herb because it wouldn't be growing back. So if you like using herbs all the time, you may want to get some frozen herbs just so you don't have to limit yourself as to how much you can use. Also, another thing is if you have a lot of herbs, so you have like 5 pots of basil, to prevent them from going bad, you can also pick the leaves, mince them, and freeze them for later use. So now I've talked about 5 things that I think everyone should have in their freezer. But around frozen food, there's always this controversy of Is frozen vegetables and fruits better or worse compared to fresh fruit? Some people say that once you freeze them, you lose some nutritional value. Others say that because you freeze them right after they're harvested, the nutritional value is actually preserved. So I asked myself the same question, and I did some research. And here's what I found. So studies have actually shown that there is actually no consistent differences in frozen produce versus fresh produce. So the way that it is done is that the vegetables are blanched first and then fast frozen, and there are no chemicals used, contrary to how they used to freeze vegetables. And also I said before that there is the claim that because they're frozen it loses nutritional value. That is not untrue, but we still have to keep in mind that fresh produce also loses nutritional value. For example, peas lose up to half of their vitamin C in the first 24 to 48 hours that they are harvested. So if you freeze them, you can actually preserve the vitamin C in the peas. So the University of California actually tested fresh versus frozen on things like corn, broccoli, green beans, peas, spinach, and carrots. And they actually didn't really find any consistent differences in frozen versus fresh. In some cases, the frozen version was even better, like the peas that I just mentioned before. So I would conclude in saying that frozen is not worse or has less nutritional value than fresh. I think it is pretty much the same, but don't quote me on this. I'm not a nutritionist whatsoever. I only did my research. I'll link you guys the source where I got this information from underneath if you want to research yourself or read up on this topic yourself. One thing I do want to caution you guys is when you buy frozen vegetables, a lot of the times they're already cut up, and that is totally okay, but I really encourage you guys to look at the ingredients, because a lot of the times prepared vegetables have seasoning and additives added because they kind of count as ready food. So you want to be aware of that and check the ingredients to see there's really only the vegetables in there, and you don't want to be consuming any preservatives or other additives. So that's it. These are my 5 freezer must-haves that I always have in my freezer, and I think you guys should also add to your freezer. Let me know what you guys think everyone should have in their freezer down below in the comments. Maybe there's something that really inspires me and I might have to add to my list of things that I have in my freezer. Other than that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! If you like my videos and like to support me, you can do so on Patreon. There you guys can get more exclusive videos about me, about my adventures that I go on, and some exclusive, more difficult recipes. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!